everybody seems to love. It must be great to be you, John Borrowman. How are you?
I don't know if it's great. Yeah, but it's nice to be liked. Yeah, and if you love me, bring it on. Bring it on. I don't know what to say to that, really. If that's what the feeling is, then I'm totally chuffed by it, really.
I'll tell you what it is about you. I've spent years going to New York recording Broadway shows, and I've been in the West End for years interviewing different people. And there aren't many people who have a personality. That's why people like you and Michael Ball are so massive, because it's almost homogenized, isn't it? You have to look the right way, you have to be a certain height, you have to have blonde hair, and you have to dance in a certain way and sing in a certain way.
Which I have none of.
So congratulations on being you, anyway. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. I think what it is that people nowadays, particularly people in the business, really need to understand that they are people. You know, we're like everybody else out there. Those of you who are sitting at home right now, either, you know, having a cup of tea, cup of coffee, maybe having some toast or whatever, we do the same thing. You know, as I can't say it on air, but my mother used to say, everybody, at the end of the day, we all wipe our bottoms the same way.
Thank you for cleaning that one up in more ways than one. How do you become unique and get the lead roles? Is it your appearance, your voice, your dancing, or is it all three together?
I think it's a combination of everything, and you have to, a combination of all of that and hard work. I mean, you know, I'm not going to lie and say that I know that I don't have a look that is appealing to people on stage or on camera. Okay, you know, I'm a realist. I know that you have to be able to sing in the West End. I know that you have to be able to dance. The weakest of the three things for me are my movement. And I really work hard to make that look better than what I can really do, and you know, kind of pull the wool over everybody's eyes. In rehearsals, you should see me. It's funny because when I do rehearse the dance stuff, I have to spend a lot of time, more time than anybody else, one-on-one with the choreographer to get it right. So it's a combination of everything coming together, and it's also, you have to network. What people forget, and particularly people who are in the industry with me and are complaining that they don't get lead roles and they don't get this and they don't get that. Well, you know what? Get up off your butt and work, because you have to network. You have to meet people. This is the business. No one's going to bring anything to you and go, oh, we want to make you a big, huge West End musical star. That ain't going to happen. You have to work at it. You got to, you know, work through the ladder. I was lucky that I came in as a leading man, and a lot of my mates who are now leading men and leading ladies had to work up through the ensemble. And there's nothing wrong with that. I was just very lucky, and I grabbed that opportunity.
Was there ever a chance that you might have been a builder or a plasterer or something?
I would love to, you know, fulfill the fantasies of some of the men and women out there who might be listening. But I do look all right in a builder's hat and a belt with a hammer on it. But no, I never wanted to be a builder or anything like that. The one thing that I did want to be as a kid was a pilot. But then when I was about 9, 10 years old, when I realized that was just the gay thing, because I really liked the uniform.
I wanted to be a pilot as well, but then I realized I wasn't smart enough, so I thought, well, I'll just talk.
Well, I realized that I didn't like flying. and that was a big part of it. I don't know. I can truly and honestly say, although the childhood fantasies of wanting to be the pilot, and maybe, you know, at some point, I never wanted to be a policeman or fireman or anything like that, but I can firmly say that from the moment I can remember, I've always wanted to be in front of an audience to entertain people. I fell in love with the theater when I saw, it was either one of two shows, because I remember my mother used to always take me to every one of the Disney movies that came out, Jungle Book, Mary Poppins, that had music in it. And when I was watching, I think it was Babes in Toyland, a pantomime or something over Christmas when I was in Glasgow at Kelvin Hall, and then seeing Peter Pan, and when I saw Peter Pan fly out into the audience, I was hooked. I mean, I've never wanted to do anything else. So I was born, put on this planet, made the way I am, and I'm doing what I was here to do.
All right, we're going to take some music from the brand new album, which is called Another Side. It's great driving music. They're all big numbers, though. There's songs like All By Myself, Feeling Good, that we started with. These are songs that you can't really tamper with if you're not going to do them well. Were you nervous when you take on these type of songs?
I wasn't, actually. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I came in and to do that, and I chose those songs because I love them, and all of them mean something to me. They all have, I'm really chuffed that you said it's a driving album, because that's how I listen to my music, in the car, commuting back and forth from London to Cardiff. And I really am. It's important to me that the songs meant something to me, because I know the listener then can take it on board and feel that I'm actually saying something. I'm not just singing a song. And if you check out my website, all of the stories behind all of the songs are on the website, johnbarrowman.com, and it explains more as to why I chose the music.
So which is the best song on the album then?
I knew you were going to ask that, and that is the most rubbish question you could ask someone, because every one of them is a favorite of mine. I know which one my least favorite is, but I'm not going to tell you that either.
Well, let's start with that one. Go on.
No. I can't do that. No.
There must be one song, though, like in every musical, there's that 11 o'clock number where you look forward to it coming, you look forward to performing it, and when it's gone, you're kind of miserable.
Well, it's probably the least well-known one then. And it's called Please Remember Me. It's not an 11 o'clock number, but it has it means a lot to me, because my partner Scott, his sister Sandy Gill, died 3 years ago of brain cancer. And the irony of the story is Scott's brother's one of the best brain surgeons in the UK and couldn't save her. And she called us all the night before she died, and we didn't know that she was going to die the next day, obviously. And she said to me on the telephone, please remember to look after my brother. So I'm saying, Sandy, don't be silly. The next day she was gone. So when I heard this song in America, it's a country and western song that we've kind of readapted, and it's called Please Remember Me.
It's Alex Belfield talking to one of my favourite people, John Barrowman, because he seems to light up the screen. One thing I find curious about performers and stars generally, I'm very lucky I get to interview a lot of the top people. I don't believe you can be trained it. I don't believe you can go to university and be taught it. You've either got it or you haven't.
I agree with you. I think you can, if somebody has the knack there, you can develop it. But it's like, for instance, when we're doing the shows, How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria, or Any Dream Will Do to Find a Joseph, I can spot it immediately. I can spot it when we narrow it down to the 250 that we have to choose from. I can choose the ones that I think have that knack. Now, it's whether they are willing to work hard enough to develop it and to make it work for them. But you're right. You've either got it or you don't. It also, I think, matters that if you're as I said in the beginning, if you are like everybody else, you're a human being, you like to talk, you can communicate with people. And I think that's important for people to relate to you if you're honest. Honesty is the biggest thing, and that makes people want to know more about you if you're honest. I don't understand people who come into this business and this industry, and we all know when we start in this business that there's the possibility you could become famous. We know that. We want to be working actors. Now, if that fame comes, why do you not want it? Why do you go, I don't want to sign autographs. I want to lock myself away. I don't want to be near people. You know what? Get out. I do not get people like that. If someone asks me for an autograph, unless I'm sitting having an intimate dinner, I will sign it.
And surely it's the ultimate compliment that you've dreamed of, isn't it? If somebody actually wants to meet you, then you've achieved your goal.
Dude, this is what we work for. This is what you all hope. Everybody in the world hopes that you will all of a sudden land on your feet doing something that will get you, what you want. A nice house, nice clothes, a nice car, whatever might be your big thing. And, when it happens to people, you want to celebrate it. And that's what I'm trying to do, is celebrate my success and thank everybody for helping me and getting me where I am. But I don't understand those people who don't. The whole drugs and alcohol issue, that's people who are, I think, thrust into success very quickly and can't and don't know how to deal with it, and that's their escape. So that's when we're on the Jeremy Kyle. We'll talk about that one.
I saw Robbie Williams performing in front of those 150,000 people a couple of years ago, and I saw a man who was just crying on the inside, and I thought, how can you be that successful, that big, and hate it so much? They loved him. They were warm to him. They didn't boo him. They weren't throwing cabbages at him. He'd got the dream.
I love Robbie. I love his music. I love him as a performer. I've seen him live in New York, and I think he's spectacular. If he's unhappy, I'd say give me a call, and I'll have a chat with you, and maybe I'll be able to help you out.
You see, this could be your new thing. We could have counselling the musical.
No,
8 shows a week where you get a different celebrity on stage, and you just sing to them about how to help them.
Just help yourself to my letter.
We're here today with John Borrowman. We're going to take another piece of music, then we're going to come back and talk about your life and your career, your childhood. One thing you mentioned earlier, how do you solve a problem like Maria? Connie sat in the chair only a couple of days ago talking to me about The Sound of Music. She said she's leaving the show in February. I was surprised when she said that, because it always worries me when somebody's so brilliant at one role and did it perfectly and then decide to leave to go on to better things, which is what she believes she's going to do. How do you feel about her going? Is that a good move or a bad move?
I think it's a good move. I think it might have been a better move for her to go a little sooner. I always believe that you should stay in the show. A year is a long time. And if you stay in the show for a year, that's fine. You might, a year and 3 months, okay, you can do it, because I've done that myself. But I think Connie can do other roles, no doubt about that, because she's, but as I've always said, with Connie and with Lee Mead, their next big challenge is the role after Joseph, after The Sound of Music, because that will prove their diversity and how good they really are. And I know they're good because we put them in those positions. My reputation is on that also. But you have to. She's making a bold move, and she has to, because she has to let go of her security blanket. And whatever role she does, she has to find a different way of doing it. She has to dig deep down to bring out that new that new character, that new role, because she's not Connie playing Connie, she's Connie playing the role. But the thing I think she should really do is do something completely opposite. She should play a hooker. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Become a hooker.
No, well, some people might like that. I don't think Connie's boyfriend would like that very much. But yeah, no, she needs to do something, I think, completely different. Because if she plays something too close to the Maria figure, people will say she's always the goody two shoes, and that's something I had to kind of break in the early years of my career also. So
I think you'll probably agree with me, though. It's unlikely she's going to find something as high profile as Maria in The Sound of Music at the Palladium at the moment, because I mean, those roles are so rare, aren't they?
No. Of course of course you're right, and I assume she knows that, as I know that, as everybody else does, because there's very few times in your career do you have those big moments. And I'm 40 years old, and I've been doing this now. I never thought I'd say 20 years in the business, dear. No, it's not 20 years yet. There'll be a big party when it is. The years I've been in the business, I've probably had those kind of defining moments. I've probably had about, maybe, I'm guessing off the top of my head, 5 or 6, that are that huge. So, they come few and far between, but she'll still sell tickets in the next show. She'll still hopefully put bums on seats, and she'll still do a good job. She will always be, no matter what you go to see Connie or Lee Mead in, they will always be reliable performers.
And nobody can possibly doubt her ability and her talent, because she did just literally light up the stage.
Well, yeah, I saw her in the first night, and I thought she did a tremendous job. I felt good that I helped to choose her.
I tell you what, let's give you all the credit. Never mind her talent.
No, don't give me the credit at all. Please don't, because someone will write some article in some newspaper saying John Borrowman thinks he's responsible for the success of Connie. No.
This new album's tremendous. It's in your stores now. It's called Another Side. This is my favourite song off the album, Heaven. Why did you put this one in? Terrible.
My father said that if I was the first, they wouldn't have had any more. And I kid you not. That was
What were you, precocious or outrageous? What were you?
I was pretty much the same as what I am now, outrageous. I didn't sleep. My mother, the doctor told my mom and dad they had to put me in a cot, just leave me in a playpen cot overnight, and I would eventually fall asleep. And they'd put me in there, when they'd go to bed, and when they got up in the morning, I was still up playing. So, and I'm pretty much the same way. I'm a night person as opposed to a day person. But I've had to change all that because of what I'm doing with all the filming and things. But I was pretty much a handful in the sense that I guess I was a little precocious. I knew what I wanted, and I didn't want to back down. I remember there was one instance, my father, it was very typical of me. I wanted to do everything that everybody else was doing, and my brother was a very good football player, and he would go up to the park in Glasgow and play football, and he was going to be on Rangers junior team before we left the UK. And I went to go play one day, and I came back, and I had all the gear on, and my dad, had given me the pep talk on the way back, and I walked into the house, and my mom said, "So son, how'd you like it?" And I said, "Don't like it, Mum, get dirty." I don't like it, I get dirty. So I think there was a defining moment in my life.
I think the signs were there, weren't they?
Oh, they were there from day one.
Were you the kind of child where when your mother would come in the bedroom in the morning and open the curtains and the beam of sunlight would shine through, you'd suddenly stand up and sing a number? I mean, were you just waiting for the spotlight to hit?
People would like to think I was like that, but no. My mother would come in the morning and open the curtain and I'd be in bed and go, "Shut the curtain, Mom!" Yeah, I would do that more. But I did, I say this, I have to be very vague on some of these stories, and I apologize to you when I do this, but I have an autobiography coming out in February, and I'm under restrictions from the publishers about a lot of things. But there's a huge section about my childhood with when I would go to the record store my mother worked in, and I would be put on the counter to sing all the top 10 hits of the week to the staff, the people who would come in, and I was the living jukebox. I won't tell you where they used to spend their penny, but it was that's a different phrase, isn't it? Spending a penny means going to the bathroom. I won't tell you where they used to put their money. That was the joke. That was a really bad one. But
it was a double joke.
It was a double entendre. So I used to do that. So it wasn't really the ray of sunshine, but it was in the record store because I knew I had an audience.
What's depressing now is the fact that we're going to have to sit here for another hour in about 3 months and do this entire program again.
About the autobiography. Yeah, no, exactly. Hey, so that there's nothing bad about that because then I can tell you all the dish.
Not that I'm saying talking to you is boring or anything.
No.
We then moved abroad because this isn't a Glasgow accent, is it?
The Scottish accent I only use when I'm with my family. We moved to the United States in 1976. My father was ended up being an executive quite high up in Caterpillar Tractor Company, which is the big earth moving equipment. Big yellow tractors. That's my dad. And
he must have been very proud of you when he was walking around the factory.
He was actually. You say that with a little bit of jest in your voice, but my dad is very proud. I mean, this thing was all of my parents' kids are very, all of us are very diverse. My sister is the, if anything, my sister is the brains, my brother's the bronze, and I was the beauty. No, my sister's the academic. She is she's a professor of English literature and journalism in America and at a university, and she also has penned my autobiography because I wanted to keep it all in the family because she knows me the best, and she makes the joke now that she has a gay man living in her head. My brother, like I said, is now an executive for the Northern Illinois Gas Company. He was a sportsman, and my brother was on the American Olympic, first non-American citizen to be asked to be on the American Olympic soccer team the year they boycotted. And I'm the entertainer, so we're all very diverse. So yes, my father was proud of me and still is proud of me.
There's no doubting what you do on stage. And what I love about your type of voice, I'm a big supporter of people like Michael Ball because he makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you're in a theatre. And it's not easy to get your voice right to the back if you're in the crappy seats. How did you know from a young age that you were good enough to succeed? Because we see it on X Factor where guys come through, and of course on your programmes that you've done on the BBC, where these kids have undoubting belief in their talents and they're useless.
You don't know. You have no idea. And the one thing... You have to have an element of confidence in you, I think, and I think that's taught in schools nowadays. I mean, I was taught it in America. It's that go-getting attitude, and I think they're doing it more over here, and I think it's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with having confidence. You don't know you're going to be a success. You don't know you're good enough. You're constantly trying to prove yourself. The thing that, like, for instance, Michael and myself and others who are in our position have that others don't have is the work ethic to push. And if something goes wrong, we have confidence in ourselves to either admit that it's gone wrong, or we look someone straight in the eye and they're telling us to do something, we say no. You know what I mean? That's the difference. And I think Michael would agree with me. It's not about just being able to hit the back of the stalls anymore, because you have microphones that can assist you to do that. And what happens are the people then who rely on... It's difficult to describe because I got to choose these words kind of correctly. Maybe those people who don't succeed are the ones who rely on all the little bits around them that assist them rather than concentrating on them, if that makes any sense. You are the instrument, you are the craft, so don't rely on all those other bits they're there to assist you. They're not there to make you, if that makes any sense.